Here are top 15 things about Canada's Startup Visa program that I want you to know. Why you need to know these 15 things? You see, IRCC public information is very helpful, but it doesn't address unique situations. Plus, federal court cases are not usually known to the applicants. They are too legalistic. Practicing immigration lawyers are tuned into the government changes. Business immigration lawyers in particular work with designated organizations, and DOs have constant contact with the government. We will focus on what's interesting to you, not just to immigration lawyers. There can be very unique and peculiar situations with each SUV application, and lawyers practicing immigration law discuss these nuances and how to tackle them. But those, again, are legalistic and procedural matters. These 15 things that I will share with you today are bullet points from those discussions, simplified version of them. But remember that it's likely there will be some changes in 6 to 12 months from now, so you need to stay tuned because immigration law is not a static area. A detailed guide on the SUV program is available at sobirovs.com. So on a very high level, what is Startup Visa program? First of all, you need an innovative idea which is competitive, scalable, and investable. Second, with that idea, you need to obtain the support of business incubators, angel investors, or VC funds in Canada. With the support, you apply for permanent residence and work permit. You need to demonstrate language capabilities, plus funds, and demonstrate significant benefit in your work permit application. Once your work permit application is successful, that's the first step, you come to Canada to start your business. You need to demonstrate progress and regularly report to the government and comply with all applicable laws. At the end of the journey, you and 4 other partners in your startup may become permanent residents in Canada together with their families. It may take around 3 years. Startup Visa program, the basic setup. The designated entity endorsement. It's a critical document that you need to obtain from venture capital funds, angel investors, or business incubators in Canada. It is very crucial because it validates the startup's potential and innovation to the IRCC. Second, ownership and operational requirements. Each of the applicants must hold at least 10% of the voting rights in the qualifying business. Combined, the applicants and the designated entity must control more than 50%. Third, incorporation in Canada. Incorporating the business in Canada is highly recommended, although you can do it without incorporation. In some cases, though, it's necessary based on the designated entity's requirements. The legislation in Canada varies from province to province, especially with respect to foreign ownership and Canadian director requirements. For example, no Canadian directors are needed, for example, in corporations created in Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Quebec. However, remember that for Startup Visa program, you should be doing business outside of Quebec. For federal incorporation, however, you always need a Canadian director. Let's talk about innovation, finance, and the plan. Number 4, innovativeness criterion is a requirement under Startup Visa program. The SUV program specifically targets startups with strong potential for innovation, scalability, global competitiveness, and job creation in Canada. Innovativeness is assessed by the designated entities and ultimately by the IRCC itself in the application review process. Number 5, financial requirements. Applicants must demonstrate that they have enough funds to support themselves and their dependents upon arrival in Canada. Proof of funds must be clear, accessible, and unencumbered by debts. You must prove that there is capital to support the operations of the startup. So in conclusion, you must show your funds for your family and yourself, and you must show funds for your operations of the startup. Number 6, role of professional business plans. A comprehensive business plan is vital for illustrating that the startup is viable, has a market potential, and innovative. Using professional service providers or tools like ChatGPT to draft your business plan is acceptable, provided that the final submission accurately represents the entrepreneur's vision. So make sure that even if you use tools or outside service providers, you need to double check the business plan yourself. At Sobirov's law firm, we use both in-house and external teams, and we review the final version of the business plan. Now let's talk about PR, work permit, and processing time. Number 7, work permit eligibility. After you apply for PR on the startup visa program, the startup founders can apply for work permits. The work permit duration aligns with the startup's development phase. When you need to come, is it urgent to come, is it essential for you to be in Canada, and so on. The open work permit aspect is not very clear. Remember, in 2023, the former immigration minister announced that they will be issuing open work permits for startup visa applicants. But until now, it is mostly closed work permit. It was probably one-time deal by the Canadian government. However, work permits can be extended if necessary. Number 8, processing times. The processing times for the work permit applications can vary significantly based on the applicant's country and the visa office handling the application. PR takes around 37 months. The IRCC changes or updates can affect the processing times. So you need to regularly check on the IRCC website what's the processing time at that moment. Number 9, essential and non-essential members. Remember, when you apply for work permit for the startup founders, you claim that they are essential and that they need to be in Canada to start the startup project. The distinction between essential and non-essential members can affect work permit eligibility and the strategic planning of the startup's operations in Canada. At least one founder must be designated as essential, having a critical role in the business. If one essential's work permit is refused, all other essential work permit applications will also be refused. Always inform the IRCC about changes in essential founders or the divorce and separation of founders. Sometimes it can happen. The startup founders may decide to go different ways after the application. So now let's talk about transition to PR, the development of your startup, and adding new investors. Number 10, transition from work permit to permanent residence. The SUV program offers an opportunity to become permanent residents for entrepreneurs who establish their businesses in Canada. After meeting the specific criteria and successfully starting their businesses, applicants can transition to permanent residence. In fact, you can say that the SUV offers conditional PR, okay? Remember, you apply for PR first and then go with work permit. Once you comply and make a progress on your startup, then in 3 years' time, you will become PR. Number 11, business development and updates to IRCC. Applicants must provide updates on a regular basis on their business development and progress as part of their PR application. These updates help the IRCC assess the ongoing viability and contribution of the startup to Canada's economy. Number 12, adding new investors or new co-founders. It is possible to add new investors or co-founders after your initial application, but this requires updating the application and potentially obtaining new letter of support from designated organizations. Changes in the startup's ownership or structure must be communicated to IRCC and may require a review of the application. Now finally, let's talk about investment amount, young entrepreneurs doing businesses, and refusals. Number 13, financial planning and proof of investment. Startups must show financial planning and proof of investment beyond the settlement funds of the co-founders, including how the business will be funded and sustained in the coming years. The investment amount and financial proof required can vary based on the business plan and the designated entity's expectations. Number 14, support for young and less well-off entrepreneurs. The program is open to entrepreneurs of all ages and financial backgrounds, emphasizing the startup's potential rather than the personal wealth of the applicants. However, to be honest, the more experienced you are, the more successful you will be in your startup application. Designated entities might have specific programs or supports for younger or less financially established entrepreneurs. You have to check with the DOs. And lastly, number 15, impact of work permit refusals. A work permit refusal for one team member of the startup needs to be carefully addressed in any subsequent applications ensuring that the reasons for refusals are fully addressed. Refusals can be appealed or reapplied for, focusing on rectifying the issues cited by the IRCC. Now we have covered top 15 things you needed to know about Canada's Startup Visa Program. These are highlights, these are bullet points. But if you need more detailed instructions or detailed advice, contact us at sobirovs.com and you can book your consultation on our website.